64-61 Missouri, 2 seconds to go. Cowboys with the basketball. Reeves.
He made it! We are going to overtime!
Oh my goodness!
And welcome to this week's Eddie Sutton Show. Ho hum, Coach, another win.
You know, that can take you from Death Valley to the mountaintop in just a very fraction of a second, and that's what happened to our crowd and our basketball team last evening. It looked like we were ready to be buried. Crudup hit a great three-pointer with 2 seconds to go. We were able to draw up a play, and it didn't work quite the way we had it drawn up, but Big Country will go down in history as hitting one of the great shots ever hit in Gallagher-Iba Arena. Another shot that was hit many years ago when I was playing, Mel Wright hit a shot to beat the University of Kansas when they had the great Wilt Chamberlain. They were ranked #1 in the country, but it was a much easier shot. The shot that he took was really a tough shot. I told our squad after the game that, you know, I'd had a lot of great players hit shots at won games or tied games at Arkansas and at Kentucky, but none that was as difficult as the one Bryant Reeves hit last night. And as we were talking earlier, that shot will be talked about for years to come. And we only had about 6,500 people there, but 10 years from now, everybody in this state that's an Oklahoma State fan will tell the story that I was there the night that Bryant Reeves hit that great 35-footer.
The arena got a lot bigger all of a sudden. Eddie Hannon, of course, hit the shot back in the 80-81 season to help the Cowboys beat Louisville. That will be long remembered. U.S. Reed, I guess, is the shot that comes to mind in your coaching days at Arkansas that hit the half-court shot. It was a different type of shot, though.
U.S. Reed hit a shot in Austin, Texas against Louisville in the NCAA tournament that was a running shot from about 2 strides behind the mid-court line. But Sidney Moncrief and Ron Brewer and Marvin Delph and Scott Hastings hit a shot to beat Houston over Olajuwon's hand one night in Barnhill Arena. Rex Chapman hit a shot at Kentucky. We've had a lot of guys hit game winners, but like I said, I don't think we've ever had one that was quite that spectacular. That was an unbelievable shot. And of course, Country, when Tom Dorado asked him, he said, I knew it was in all the way. And when you look at the film, he actually did. Once he released it, he was calling that it was a 3-point shot. So maybe he knew something that we didn't know.
Well, we'll take plenty of looks at that and talk more about that ball game a little bit later. But right now, let's take a look at Oklahoma State hosting Louisiana Tech, and this one was on Saturday. And you kept winning here, Coach. Cowboys have won 4 straight, 7 of 8, and this a game outside the conference, of course.
That's Fred Burley, number 24, hitting 2 of his 11 points. Fred had 9 rebounds in our game with Missouri and played very well this week. That's Bryant Reeves, number 50. He had 19 points against Louisiana Tech. And Brooks Thompson probably played the best game of his career against Louisiana Tech. He had 28 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 steals. We jumped out on them 39-23. They've had a tough season. Last year they had that great ball club, lost a lot of people, and this year they're rebuilding. There's Brooks Thompson making a steal and going down and dunking the basketball.
Brooks Thompson seems just to be a confidence factor, Coach. He's made the transition from the point guard to the 2, or from the 2 to the point guard so well.
We were talking the other day, and I think that more than anything else, Dean, he just feels a lot more comfortable distributing the ball, and yet at the same time he's still scoring big numbers and has just become a very complete basketball player, good defender, and we have an abundance of quality guards in the Big 8, but he certainly is one of them. I'll be very disappointed if he doesn't reap some all Big 8 honors. He certainly should be given strong consideration for the newcomer of the year.
And that was Fred Burley knocking it down, and Fred has continued to improve, shooting very, very well in conference play from the free throw line, an explosive offensive player, and improving in your system defensively as well.
In the game with Missouri, I felt that Fred probably played harder than any game this year, and I think that showed up in his defensive play and also in bringing down 9 rebounds. Bryant had a double-double. He had 27 and 14 against Kansas or against Missouri. In this ball game, he had 19 and 10. And you saw him a little bit earlier shooting a little swing shot. That's something we've been working with him on. And once he gets that shot, that's going to really complement his offensive game. we put a lot of pressure on them and forced them into 17 turnovers. We only had 12. We all rebounded them 40-30, and that was a big key in the win. There's Milton Brown going in and hitting 2 of his points. He had 10 rebounds, and Milt has just been a very, very consistent performer for us.
Cowboys won it. There's your final, 80-53, and Coach, you go to 39-2 in Gallagher-Iba Arena. But the next one was not going to be nearly as easy. That was the game last night. Missouri came to town. Missouri not playing the basketball it had hoped to play, but they showed what they could do in the second half, and your poor shooting during a stretch of the game helped them stay in it.
Missouri's a good basketball team, Dean. They're better than their record, and they're 4-7 in the league, and they still have a chance to finish 500. If they can do that, they've got a chance to get an NCAA bid. I think that would make them 18-11, 7-7. They've lost a couple of tough games during that losing streak. Kansas beat them 4. They lose to Nebraska by 1 in overtime. They lose to Nebraska by 1 in Columbia. And it was a game where we spurted out in the first half, defensively played well, had a 31-19 lead at halftime. In the second half, we got out 41-26. Looked like we had the game under control. All of a sudden, Missouri came to life. We got a little stagnant offensively, lost a little of our aggressiveness at the defensive end, and they kept pecking away, hit some big shots, and all of a sudden, it was just back and forth and anyone's game, and it looked like that we were doomed until Country hit that shot. And then in the overtime, as happens so often, the tendency is you're deflated after you have a shot hit on you like that. Like Bean hit one on us from Kansas State early in the year, and in the overtime session, they ran away from us. Last night, we were able to spurt away and beat the Tigers.
Let's take a look at that ball game, and this was one, Coach, I can remember a week ago sitting here, you said if we're going to contend, if we're going to keep things going in our direction, we must beat Missouri at home, and it was a tough one, but the Cowboys did prevail. Brooks Thompson strokes it, doesn't stroke that one down, but he did play a fine ball game, get the block there from Crudup on the inside.
Good hustle play on Country's part as far as getting the ball back out to Randy Rutherford. He knocked down a 3. You can see Country is surrounded but still has the strength to power the ball up. I mentioned that in this game he was 27 points and had 14 rebounds. Burley had 10 points, Thompson 18, Rutherford 13. So we had 4 starters hitting double figures. Here's a nice 2-on-1 break, and that's Fred Burley flushing one down. Just exactly the way you want to run a 2-on-1. Make the one defensive man cover you in, then if he doesn't, you shoot the ball. If he does, you kick it off. Vaughn Bennett misses a shot, but follows it up, converts the basket, and gets the free throw. Vaughn came off the bench and did a good job for us. Nice high-low pass from Bennett into Bryant Reeves. Here we are in the second half. Great hustle play by Milt Brown. You can see the intensity in this game, and that's the way it is in the Big 8 contest right now. Everybody's fighting to get up in that first division where you got a chance at an NCAA berth.
There you saw Thompson knock it down from outside. Thompson and Rutherford's numbers are very strong together, averaging 28 points combined, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals a game, and as you mentioned, they are a tough tandem in the backcourt.
Well, there are some great guard combinations in the Big 8, but I really like Randy and Brooks play the way they've been performing the last month of the season.
Brooks was challenged a couple of times last night. He and Frost got into a little confrontation and seemed to keep his composure and responded well.
He gets a little feisty once in a while. I like that competitive spirit, but he's got to make sure he keeps it under control and focuses in on what's at hand. But there's nothing wrong with being competitive like Brooks and our players are. Here's the play. You can see Milt Brown throws the ball. We'll talk a little bit more about it, and there's the shot again. Some of the players asked Country, said, did you call glass or off the board? And he said, well, I knew it was in all the way.
Yeah, he says he made one at Gans, America. We need tape of that, Country, if you're watching. Somebody needs to supply us with that.
I've never seen a crowd just hit a shot that allows you to tie the game, come on the court as quickly as they did. The student body just rushed out there, and I guess they could have called a technical foul. I've never seen that call, but it could have been made. Great block by Country. Now we're in the overtime period. Good lead pass to Fred Burley.
Interesting decision there to go ahead and take advantage of the numbers and to push it on in for that bucket rather than to pull it back.
Well, I think that's one thing sometimes we do and other teams do. You get to a point that you get too passive, and you don't want that to happen. You've got to continue to be very aggressive, and if you get too conservative,
right,
I think all of a sudden you don't do things as well. So I was pleased to see us go ahead and make that play. And again, in the overtime period, we only won by 4, 77-73, but actually we won by a bigger margin than that. They hit a basket right at the buzzer. We missed a couple of free throws late. But a great win for us, and it allowed us to stay in second place. And we're going to take a look at the standings later, but there are 3 teams breathing down our neck, and we're breathing down Kansas's neck a little bit. But we've got a big game Saturday with Kansas State, and then one next Monday with the University of Oklahoma, and then we finish out the season with Kansas.
And we'll talk about that and a lot more coming up after these messages. Stay with us. More of the Eddie Sutton Show in a couple of minutes. Well, I wonder what our play of the week is, Coach. Well, how about Big Country from 45?
I think that's it.
One more look at it. Reeves gets it off the glass, and we will talk more about this in a few moments on Coach's Corner. In fact, we have a little diagram, don't we, Coach?
We certainly do. There's another look at it. Milt Brown rifling the ball down the floor. Off to Country, he turns. He raises his hands up. It's 3 all the way.
And he called that one a little early. We'll take a 30-second timeout. When we come back, more on The Shot on the Coach's Corner. Stay with us. And this week on Coach's Corner, we will take a look at the shot once again. But, Coach, tell us what you told your team as you fall 3 down after Crudup hits the shot with 2 seconds to go.
Well, Crudup hit a great shot.
Right.
He played a whale of a basketball game, one of the best he's played all season, and there it is right there. He hits it from three-point range, and he's hit 3 for 3 this year, and Country's hit 1 for 1, so the centers in those 2 schools are 4 for 4 from long range. But here I am telling our ball club, I said, somebody's going to make a shot, we're going to make a play. You always try to give them positive reinforcement. We set up a play here, and you can see Milt throws the ball down, and Country really wasn't supposed to catch it. He was supposed to deflect the ball off to either Randy or to Brooks, but Missouri did a good job defensively, and he wasn't able to do that. I drew this up. Now, every coach ought to have to take an art class when they're in college because now when the fans look at this, they say, wait a minute.
That's great.
But here's the play that I drew up. I said, Milt, now you're going to fake from the left side. You're going to run the baseline. Country's going to start underneath the basket. He's going to run, and you're going to throw that ball to the top of the circle. Brooks is going to be on one side. Randy's going to be on the other. You're going to go and throw that ball in Country. You don't catch it. You just tip it like a volleyball player and knock it down to the floor, let one of those guys pick it up and shoot the ball.
Right.
I've had success with that play before, but Missouri defended the play very well. Country couldn't get the deflection, so he just caught the ball, and maybe he had that sense that, hey, I can hit this shot, and he did. So it worked out real well. Unlike 2 plays that happened here during last season and this year, and they both happened in Philadelphia. Last year, when Duke beat Kentucky, they only needed to get a 2-point shot, and they threw the ball basically the same way, threw it to the free throw line, caught the ball, turned around, and hit it. The other night, Syracuse ran the same play, and they were able to beat Villanova. And people argued last year, well, Coach Pitino should have put somebody on the ball. Well, they didn't do that, and the play worked. This year, Villanova did put somebody on the ball, and Syracuse still hit the basket. But last night, we needed a 3-point play, which makes this play just a little tougher.
Right.
But you always got to have an element of luck if you're going to have a great season. And we got a little luck last night.
All right, stay with us. More of the Coach's Show coming up after this timeout. Time to catch up with the results and standings of Big 8 action. Let's go to the graphic and take a look at the results from Wednesday. Nebraska over Colorado, that one in Lincoln, 76-67. And Florida Atlantic had a tough time up in Ames, as a lot of teams do, 89-46.
Everybody has a tough time up there. And there you look at the standings. And
can you catch Kansas?
Well, if we can win 3 games, we can. But they're 3 tough contests. We go to Kansas State and then Oklahoma Monday and then play the Jayhawks the last game of the year. But you can see, look, 3 teams right behind us. There's only 1 game separating Iowa State, Kansas State, Nebraska, and our ball club. Then the Sooners are 5-6, Missouri's 4-7, Colorado's 2-9. People that have tickets for the Big 8 tournament in Kansas City, that's going to be a terrific affair.
No gimme. You'd kind of like to draw Colorado if you could, but as people have seen of late, Colorado may be able to step up.
Well, I really believe the Buffaloes are playing much better. They defeated Kansas State and the University of Oklahoma in Boulder. And of course, they play a lot tougher out there. But even their 9 or 10 point loss, whatever it was, to Nebraska last evening, has shown that they are getting better, and they do have good enough athletes, and it seems to me that Coach Harrington and his staff has them headed in the right direction.
Let's take a look at the schedule upcoming in the Big 8 Conference. Oklahoma State at Kansas State, another big one, 3 o'clock. Iowa State at Nebraska, Colorado at KU. Oklahoma travels to Missouri.
All of them are big games.
And there's your big one on Big Monday, Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. That one 8:30, a nationally televised game on ESPN. Missouri at K-State on Tuesday the 2nd. And on Wednesday the 3rd, Iowa State at Colorado, Nebraska at Kansas. Let's jump into the K-State game. That's a funny team. They started off great. They kind of hit bottom, and now they have resurfaced.
Well, they went through a stretch, and I don't know whether you can play well in this league and still lose. We did last year. We lost 4 games in a row. It looked like K-State had really hit the skids after getting off to such a great start. Bean has made a big difference in their ball club. I think it surprised everyone. It certainly did me that they were able to go into Norman and beat the Sooners this past week. But Oklahoma had a terrible shooting night, just couldn't get the ball to go down. But Kansas State realizes now that by beating us, they tie us, and by sweeping the series, they get a higher seed in the tournament if we do end up in a tie in the Big 8. So a big game for both ball clubs, and of course maybe a little bit bigger game for us, because we know if we can win there, then our chances are better at OU, and if we could be fortunate enough to win both games, then you're playing Kansas for the chance to tie the Jayhawks for the championship. So I hope our team can go up there and play well. I think more than anything else, I hope they shoot the ball well. When you shoot the ball well, everything else looks better.
The Cowboys have a chance for a rare sweep. Coach Sutton, the Big 8 Coach of the Year, Bryant Reeves, the Big 8 Player of the Year, and Brooks Thompson, the Newcomer of the Year. We'll talk to the coach about that after we do this. Stay with us. If the season were to end today, many believe that Eddie Sutton would be the Big 8 Coach of the Year, Bryant Reeves the Player of the Year, and Brooks Thompson the Newcomer of the Year. What do you say about that?
But it doesn't end today. We've still got 3 tough games left. I hope that Country continues to play like he has, because there's no one, if they really are going to pick someone who is the most valuable player to their team, there's no one in our league that has a player as important to winning as Country has meant to our ball club. I really believe that Brooks Thompson is playing as well as any guard in the league right now, and he has a chance not only to win Newcomer of the Year, but I would think that he would be given strong consideration if we win for an all-conference performer. The Coach of the Year, that's nice, but our team is more important, and winning is more important. In Kansas State, Saturday, and then the Bedlam Series next Monday night down at Norman, and that'll be a terrific ball game, because OU knows they have to win some more games in order to get in the NCAA tournament. Coach Tubbs will have that team fired up.
Yeah, Coach, we have about 20 seconds. What would be a key looking at that game down in Norman next Monday?
Well, I think the biggest key will be transition defense and defensive board play, not giving them too many opportunities, and hope that they don't have that great shooting night. If they have a poor shooting night like they did against Kansas State the last outing, then we have a better chance. But I think the defensive board play, transition defense are the 2 most important things.
Coach, thanks, and great week.
Thank you.
For the coach, I'm Dean Blevins. Thanks for watching this week's Eddie Sutton Show.